Welcome to another episode of Shabbat Shmooze. I have to make a confession. I'm in full-fledged pre-bar mitzvah mode, so don't mind the way I look. I almost didn't even record this, but I thought to myself, if one person can elevate the way they're serving Hashem because of this Shabbat Shmooze, then it's worth it for me to just sit here in my pajamas and work clothes to bring about this Shabbat Shmooze to everybody. This week's Parsha is Parshat Yisro, which is also my son Yosef's bar mitzvah parsha. Baruch Hashem, I'm making a bar mitzvah for my youngest son, Hodul Adonai Kilo Lam Chasdo. So I know a lot about this parsha, and this parsha happens to be probably the most pivotal moment for all of Bnei Israel. Matan Torah. We finally received the Torah. Every single Jew stood at Har Sinai and received the greatest gift Hashem has ever given to anyone. And as we stood at Har Sinai receiving the Aseret HaDibrot, something miraculous happened. The Torah describes the awe-inspiring scene. V'chol ha'am ro'im et hakolot, ve'et halapidim, ve'et kol hashofar, ve'et hahar ashen vayar ha'am, vayatnu'u vayamdu merachok. I'll explain. And all the people saw the thunder and the flames, and the sound of the shofar, and the mountain smoking, and the people trembled and stood from afar. Chazal tell us that something incredible occurred the moment of Aseret HaDibrot, the moment the Torah was given to us on Har Sinai. The Midrash tells us that when Hashem spoke at Har Sinai, every sick person was healed. The blind were able to see, the deaf were able to hear, the crippled were able to run. Why? Because we're taught that the Torah is the ultimate source of healing, not just for the soul, but also for the body. Honestly, I'm going to get all emotional, but this means a lot to me right now. As many of you probably know, that I'm going through my own small little health struggle, health journey, and I do have procedures and surgeries coming up in the next couple of days and weeks. So for me to know that this is the week that Hashem cured all, I take nechama in that. And I want that to also bring you nechama. If there's someone in your life who is struggling with any type of illness, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, depression, this is the week that every single person was healed. And so too, we daven that just as we stood at Har Sinai by Matan Torah, and every single one of us were healed, please Hashem, may it be your will, the ultimate Rofeh Cholim. And we're taught that Hashem's title is Baruch Rofeh Cholim. He's the ultimate and one and only doctor in the world. But what happens if there is no known cure for a certain condition? Then Hashem's title changes from the Rofeh Cholim, the curer of all, to the Borei Refuot, the creator of cures. So we're going to daven this week that Hashem should cure everyone from everything and anything that they may be struggling and suffering from. This reminds me of a story that is a very heart-wrenching story, but reminds us that the Torah and HaKadosh Baruch Hu are truly the only sources of healing. There was a Holocaust survivor by the name of Reb Moshe who lost his entire family in Auschwitz. The trauma was so severe after the war that he lost the ability to speak. The doctor said that his silence was a direct result of the extreme trauma that he experienced, and it was a psychological condition that he was dealing with. Years and years passed with him being completely mute, completely silent. Someone finally convinced him to attend a shiur. And they went to the shiur, and it happened to be that the Rav giving the shiur spoke about Matan Torah. And as the Rav spoke, he spoke about Matan Torah and how every single person, past, present, and future, stood at Har Sinai and heard Hashem's voice with their very own ears. And the Rav emphasized that the Torah has the power to heal even the deepest of wounds. And at that moment, Reb Moshe began crying hysterically and uncontrollably, and everyone went silent. And quietly, Reb Moshe uttered the words, Ani hayiti sham, I was there. And everybody was going crazy. Reb Moshe is speaking. It's years he hasn't spoken. And slowly but surely, he regained the ability to speak. What happened was, Reb Moshe realized that the memory that he had was not only that of the horrors of Auschwitz, The memory served him to remind him that he also stood at Har Sinai, and Hashem is capable of healing everybody. So friends, this is a little bit more of a selfish spiritual homework. We're going to ask you to daven for all of the cholim in your life. And I'm going to ask you to have me in mind as well. My Hebrew name is Michal Bat Dina, and this upcoming Wednesday, February 19th, just 2 days after my son's bar mitzvah, I will be going into the hospital to figure out what's going to be with my situation and Bezrat Hashem see the trajectory of what I'm going through. So this week, I want you to do two things. I want you to compile a list of the cholim in your life, and as the women, as you light your Shabbat candles, I want you to take that list of people who need a refuah of any sort, whether it's psychological, emotional, mental, physical, daven for them by your candles. And if you can have me in mind as well, Michal Bat Dina, it would mean the world to me and my family. And I'm very, very excited to update everybody very soon, Bezrat Hashem, when I have my good news, and also to hear the collective good news that all of the cholim in Klal Yisrael have been miraculously cured by the hands of the only doctor in the world, our one and only Baruch Rofei Cholim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Avinu Shebashamayim. So friends, daven for each other, daven for yourselves, daven for healing, daven for me, and Bezrat Hashem wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom.